Hey guys, this is the Computer Tutor here coming at you again with another video. Today I'm going to give you a guide to getting good aesthetics in your Unity projects. So what I'm not going to teach you today is obviously to take something simple and bland like this, which is what you might be used to, and turn it into something magnificent, but you will learn to take something just bad and turn it into something relatively interesting. So one of the first things that you need to know about in order to get good aesthetics in Unity that you might already be familiar with is global illumination. So this was something new to Unity 5, basically where you can pre-calculate all of the light bounces and indirect lighting in an environment. So as you can see here, this is the default Unity scene with no global illumination, and then down here is where we have some global illumination. So it doesn't look like much here, but it definitely is significant, where like this shadowed part here, and especially this edge here, doesn't look very realistic. However, down here you can definitely see some occlusion and stuff and a little bit of light bouncing off the top there. And this is especially good for lighting dark indoor environments because as you saw in this previous slide, this is supposed to be a relatively dark room, but it definitely doesn't look like that. And so that's one of the things that global illumination is very good at. And so it does have some disadvantages. One is that it takes time to calculate all of the light bounces and stuff, and the light maps all take up quite a bit of space. So if you have an open world game or something, or any large scale environment, you would have to pick out a very select few places to implement this because it does take a lot of time and memory to calculate this. And so the next step is image effects. So these are included as a Unity package, in fact. They're attached to a camera component in Unity, and they're pretty useful. So one of the first image effects is bloom. It basically makes bright areas of the screen bleed onto other areas. So here we have without bloom, here we have with bloom. As you can see here, bloom does sort of make this bright area accentuated, and it sort of mimics how like a really bright area can sort of blur your eyes and bleed onto other areas. And that's a pretty useful image effect. Another useful one is called tone mapping, which controls the colors to make sure there aren't any things that are there isn't anything that's ridiculously bright or dark. It helps you adjust the overall brightness of the game and keeps the look consistent. So over here you can see sometimes when you add bloom, the horizon starts to look really artificial because a horizon wouldn't be that white in reality. And when you apply tone mapping, it can sort of make the horizon chill out a little bit and bring it back to normal. However, there's another aspect to tone mapping called adaptive exposure, uh, which is one of my favorite things to do actually. So here we have this demo scene, the inside of that building. When you apply global illumination, like I said, it actually gives it a realistic darkness with a little bit of light streaming in from the door and some bloom right there. But sometimes you don't want someone to be just completely blind when they walk in. You want their eyes to adjust kind of like a real human would. So what adaptive exposure does is it takes the overall brightness of the frame and over time sort of adapts to it. So if you walked in this room with adaptive exposure on, it would initially be dark, but your eyes would slowly adjust and it would become something like this. And it simulates the effect of your eyes adjusting to a sudden change in lighting. Some other image effects are anti-aliasing, which smooths jagged edges between pixels, which you're probably familiar with. Depth of field, this is a very good one. However, it does impact your performance a lot. Basically, it just makes far away or really close places look kind of blurry because that's what cameras do. Then we've got camera motion blur, which smooths the motion between frames, and it can help conceal frame rate issues. So right now we're going to go over to Unity and create a new project. I can just name this one that, I don't really care. For asset packages, characters is always useful, and you're going to want to import effects because that's where the image effects are. So you say done, create project. Alright, so I've got a new Unity project here. I'm going to go ahead and set up a demo scene kind of like the one we had there. Start out deleting this main camera, create a 3D plane, technically a 2D plane. Just center it at 0, scale it up a bit, And I'm going to put down a first-person controller, so go to Standard Assets, Characters, First-Person Controller, Prefabs, FPS Controller, and drop them in there. There we go. And I'm just going to set up a demo scene now, just with a little like building, kind of like before. Alright, I've set up a little demo scene here, gave the ground a little yellow color just because I thought it would look nice. We've got a pretty sloppy building over here that you might not even be able to fit through, but that's not the point. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can implement global illumination. So since global illumination only affects static objects that don't move, what you've got to do is select all the non-moving objects that you want to have the global illumination effect. You need to click on them and then go up and tick static. Specifically, you can go down and say light map static. And so I'm going to do this for every thing that's here. Actually, I'll just select them all. Whoops. There we go, and I'm just going to say they're all light map static. There we go. And then what we do is, you probably don't have this lighting tab here, but what you can do is you go to Window, Lighting, and you can drag it over there. So you go to the Lighting tab, and you can see all this crap. So what you should do is pre-computed real-time GI is a kind of global illumination that can adjust for the sun moving and stuff, and big GI is more for mobile stuff. You should probably only have one at a time, just because it makes sense. And down here at the bottom, you're probably going to have something checked auto. I would usually check it off, and when you press build, sure, let's save it. It'll start down here doing a bunch of stuff. And this is basically it, calculating the light map. So I'm gonna wait a minute. And there you have it. So now that global illumination is implemented, you can definitely see a really big improvement. So if you go in here, rather than being just like dull like it was before, it's actually kind of dark like it should be. And you'll notice something pretty interesting, which is that because this ground is yellow, the light will sometimes bounce up, and it actually bounces off of the sand, gets a little bit of a yellow hue, and hits this wall and tints this wall slightly yellow. It's pretty cool what global illumination can do, so we can run this right now and just walk around. Yeah, so definitely a big improvement over what was there. Let me make sure I can get under here. Alright, there we go. And so now what we're going to work on is image effects. So when you want to do image effects, you attach it to the camera of the game, which in this case is FPS controller first person character. And you can add component, scroll down to image effects, and let's start with bloom. So you go to bloom. You can do any one of these that you want. I guess I'll just do normal bloom. As you can see, that's pretty intense right off the bat. So you can sort of adjust this. Threshold sort of is like how bright something has to be for it to bleed. I'll just put it at 0.5. Blur iterations is basically how quality it is, and sample distance, I don't really know. And so basically you can adjust the intensity. So I'm going to put this back down to like 0.25. And now we should see a little bit of bloom. So yeah, like it's definitely sort of intensified the bright areas. So that now these bright areas become a lot more intense. But as you can see, the horizon is a little bit weird now. So what you want to do is go to good old tone mapping. And also for a comparison, here's without bloom, here's with bloom. It's a lot better. So what you want to do now is we're going to add tone mapping. We're going to go to image effects, color adjustments, tone mapping. And that honestly makes it pretty ugly. That's because the technique is photographic. What you want to do for adaptive exposure is go to adaptive Reinhard, and it's gonna still be ugly. It gives you these options for middle gray, white, adaptation speed, all that crap. Basically what this does is bringing middle gray up makes it brighter, Bringing white down also makes it brighter. And then adaptation speed is like how fast it adjusts to the brightness of the scene. So if we do it as it is right now, you'll see if we run up to this wall where it's super bright, it's going to darken a little bit. You can see it already darkening, and we turn around and it brightens up. So if we walk in to this building, it's going to start brightening up, as you can probably see. And then when we turn around, it's going to be super, super bright out there. And if we run outside super suddenly, our eyes sort of adjust. And I think that's a really cool effect. So you run in, and your eyes adjust, and it looks really bright outside. And then when you run outside, your eyes take a little bit of time to adjust. And so that's basically it. Hope you liked the video. If you want to see more, hit the like button and subscribe. Peace.